Hi guys. So, it's so beautiful out today. And I'm sitting outside trying to get grounded during this eclipse thing that's going on with the moon. And I'm trying to just relax. And I'm finding it kind of difficult. And I think that's okay. I'm just really relaxing my eyes on the nature around me and focusing on the trees that are blowing in the wind and the breeze. It feels so good. It feels so good out here. It's just really, really nice and wonderful. I did some nice things for myself this week. I did my nails and today I did my hair. I just blow dried it. I did my hair and I did my makeup and I just feel good. Like I just wanted to do some self-care things and now I messed it up. That's okay. But I've just been really struggling this week and I think it's okay to admit that. And I think other people have been too. Like I don't think it's just me, obviously. I mean, it's not just me. And I think that's okay. And I think it's okay to admit that. And yeah, it's really nice out here. So I'm just trying to get grounded, relax, and I'm trying to breathe like with the wind and the breeze. And it feels really good. And I was speaking some light language. And I'm probably gonna sit in the sun for a little bit, not too long, but a little bit. I have so much work to get done today. And I know those days I get very overwhelmed, and in my head when I have a bunch of readings due or a bunch of things to check off my list and only a certain amount of hours to get them done. But I also have to space out time for myself and self-care and realizing there's a balance to it. There's a way that it works with balance. It only works with balance. If I just go into doing my readings without getting grounded, they're not as good. They're just not. And I want people to really, get value for what they put in. So that's what I would want anyways, and I want to give that to you. I'm just rambling. I drank a lot of coffee. I'm probably all over the place, and that's okay too. There's a wasp sun, so that's what I'm gonna do. Hope you can see me okay. So there was a huge wasp that just tried to attack me, and that was not fun. Oh, there's another one. Oh, there's a bee. Okay. It's so funny that I get scared of insects sometimes because I'm actually from an insect constellation. So the fact that I get scared is just such a 3D thing that I need to just transmute and get over. I've been getting so many downloads this week, and I'm gonna have to edit this, I know it. That's okay. I probably look really scary in the sun. But I've been getting so many downloads this week, and I feel like you guys have probably been too. And the downloads are very strong. They're all consisting about unity consciousness and how we're all one. I've been seeing a lot of light ships and light beings in my physical field, as well as in dreams, upon waking, upon falling asleep, especially. Upon falling asleep has been like the main one. And it's like, I see them so vividly. Almost like lucid dreaming, but it's not, I'm not trying. I'm not like setting the intention to lucid dream, they just come through. So I wonder if anyone else has been feeling that. The birds are flying around, it's so pretty to watch. And the clouds, there's like wispy clouds in the sky. I'll show you guys, there's barely any clouds. Little birds flying up there. Hope you could see that. I'm not really good with this phone camera thingy. But yeah, it's been one heck of a week, that's for sure. It's been very emotional, very up and down. And I know there's been things going on with the sun, like sunspots, and I know there's been things going on with the moon as we have like the lunar eclipse. Happy July 4th, by the way. Independence Day. And I'm very all over the place, if you can't tell. That's kind of how this week has been. Very up and down and all over the place. Emotionally, mentally, physically. Especially mentally. And especially emotionally. But I think that's okay. And yeah, so what else was I gonna bring up? Oh yeah, the downloads. Lots of downloads surrounding Unity consciousness. Lots of crazy bilocation experiences. I went away with my family this weekend. We went to the country and it was beautiful. It was just so nice to be out in nature. And while I was there, I had some interesting bilocation experiences. One was really cool. I've talked about them on my YouTube channel. Kind of like, I don't really know how to describe it, except it's like taking on source perspective in a sense, to where I will see a living insect, or any living being on the planet, basically. But this specifically happened with, it happened first. What did it happen with first? It happened with the ant. It happened with the ant first, and then the tree, and then the bee while I was away this weekend out in nature, and then it happened with the raven. And I got a powerful message there, but I'll explain what happened. I saw an ant while I was coloring sidewalk chalk with my daughter outside, and then the only way I know how to describe it is like I just spontaneously bilocated into this ant. And then I literally could see everything the ant was seeing, like the concrete and everything from the ant's perspective. I was that ant and I took on its perspective. I like somehow bilocated into the ant, and it was really amazing. And these experiences, they just leave me very like breathless, but at the same time they make so much sense to me because it's like an understanding of source perspective. I understand it better, I would say. And then there's this tree in my yard, which I'll show you real quick. There's the tree. So I connect very deeply with this tree in our yard. And when I lived at my parents' house, I had a specific tree. Hi, birdie. That was in, ooh, it's one of those fuzzy things blowing by. I love those things. Cottonwoods, I think they call them. See how distracted I'm getting? This has been my week. But there was a tree in my parents' backyard that I was just in love with. And then it ended up dying a couple years ago. And I like died with that tree, I swear. It was so sad. I miss it. I miss it because I had a bond with it. I grew up looking out at it and in the backyard at it. It was actually in our neighbor's yard behind the house. And it was just beautiful. I just remember like the leaves and how they looked when they blow in the summer breeze, and how beautiful it was and how much I connected with that tree. I connected so deeply with that tree. And I just miss it. But then when I moved here, I bonded so much with this tree and I connected very deeply with it. It's the one. It's that tree, I swear. But it happened again with this tree where I randomly bilocated into the tree and I saw everything the tree saw, from every branch and every leaf and every flower petal. There's a few white flowers still on it, but they're hard to see. And I could just see and feel, kind of like I could see and feel what the tree was feeling and seeing. And it was just a really powerful experience. And then this happened again while I was away on the trip with my family. I spent some time to myself outdoors. And this one time in particular, I was outside for about an hour and a half, just grounding and connecting and singing and speaking light language, and some of which is shown on my Instagram. But it was so magical. There were 2 ravens on that trip outside that were just playing and squawking. They sound really funny when they squawk. I've never noticed that before. I guess I've never really listened to ravens before. But I saw this bee, and it was a carpenter bee, and it flew by me. It caught my attention. It flew right in my gaze field, like while I was zoning out, because I tend to do that a lot as I'm a Pisces, and also when I channel, I zone out. But I was looking at this bee, and all of a sudden, I flew into this bee, is the only thing I can describe. And from that moment, from that instant, I saw everything that the bee was seeing from its perspective. And then I had a few other interesting experiences that same time. Well, before the bee, I was sitting there, and I saw myself like float up above me by where the trees were hovering, and I saw myself like fly up, and then I was looking down at myself and also looking up at myself simultaneously, and that was really, really cool. It was really magical. And then the bee thing happened, so I told you about that. And then right after that happened, there was a raven that flew onto the tree that was right in front of me, like right to the right of me, and it started squawking, and it was very like symbolic. I don't know how to describe it, but just the way the events synced up, it was so symbolic and synchronistic. And then that night I was thinking, like, what's so significant about this raven? You know, like, I googled the meaning of 2 ravens. It has something to do with like death and rebirth, and then also the 2 ravens mythology, and I forget it now, of course. And then it had to do with wisdom. But when I was pondering upon the fact of like, what was the significance of this raven talking to me after that bilocation, or those 2 bilocation experiences, what was the message with that? And I came to realize that if you guys watch Game of Thrones, I'm a big dork, and I love Game of Thrones. That's like just one of my favorite shows. Yeah. But if you guys remember Bren, he became the 3rd eye raven. And so he could do exactly what I've been doing, where he could, but into a raven, he could bilocate and like remote view as if he was this raven. He could like turn into the raven. He could also channel through the raven. He could see through the raven from a bird's perspective, from the higher perspective, kind of like signifying source, symbolizing source perspective. That's interesting. And that was the message that I got upon pondering, okay, why was this happening and what was happening? And it just made a lot of sense. I was like, the raven, the 3rd eye raven, and Bryn would do the same thing. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. And so that raven was sending me that message, like a reminder, which triggered a memory of that show and how he was able to do the same ability that I had just done. And so it was really powerful and really made sense. It like really synced up and made a lot of sense, and it was very synchronistic. So yeah, I just wanted to share those stories with you, I guess. This is very random, it's very all over the place, but I feel like those are kind of the energies this week, and I feel like that's okay. It's okay, we have a lot going on cosmically and intuitively and humanly and starseedly as well. So yeah, if you're a starseed, I feel like you'll just be drawn to this, and I feel like you probably have been experiencing similar things too, and the similar messages about death and rebirth. Another thing I wanted to bring up is we have that Sirian gateway that's opened, and then we have the Lionsgate portal coming. I'm not sure if they're the same thing. I can't remember. I did a video on Lionsgate a couple years ago. It was, when was it? Yeah, I can't even remember now, but it has some significance to do with 888, and I know 8 on its side is the infinity symbol. And yeah, the Lionsgate portal's huge, and I've been getting messages in my recent tarot readings about the lion, and then also the Sirius gateway is open, and I think it's through till the 7th. My brother has a birthday on the 8th, so I find that significant because I feel like the energies kind of stay around from before the event happens, during, and then afterwards for a little while as well. And I know the Sirian sun is activated at this time. Our sun is activated at this time. The moon is activated at this time with the lunar eclipse. And so yeah, there's a lot going on. And I feel like a lot of us have been receiving a lot of downloads and will continue to receive a lot of downloads. And I think cutting cords has been a huge message too recently from my friends that have been talking about it, and from readings that I've been coming across just randomly talking about cutting cords. And I think it's important to use discernment there on who, but I think it's important. Just a point to bring up. My dog's hacking up something over there. He's okay though. And what else was I gonna bring up? Yeah, just huge, massive downloads. I feel like there's also a lot of telepathic communication with birds, because that's been a huge message. I've been getting lots of third eye activations. Like, I've been getting headaches. I don't know if you have as well. Lots of ascension symptoms, like really weird ascension symptoms. I had this weird ascension symptom while we were away where it felt like underneath my eyes was like sore and like puffy, but like it wasn't allergies or anything. It felt like an ascension symptom. You know when you just know? It was like one of those weird things, and it's gone now. It was only while I was there. I feel like I received a lot of upgrades while I was there. There's 2 little birdies here, if you can see them. They're so cute. I think it's male and female. They're just like playing like little birds, little birdie games. I feel lots of soulmates coming together. Lots of people leaving older relationships, lots of new relationships beginning, lots of soulmates coming together. I just feel that. I don't know. Not like right away. I think it'll take time for most people. But I feel like this year and the coming few years, it's going to be a big thing. And I'm not the only one that's predicted that. I can't take credit for that, but it's definitely a feeling and like a knowing. Lots of sun activations, lots of sun downloads, activations, lots of downloads coming from the sun. Lots of seeing your light beings in physical form, light ships, also in etheric form, holographic form, peripheral vision form, flash form, where you see little blue flashes or white flashes, and even full body apparition holograms where you can see them, where they look super real, hyper real, right? But you can see through them because sometimes it's hard for them to show themselves on this 3D plane. But when you're vibrating really, really high, you like meet them halfway, and then they're able to show themselves easier. It's easier on them, and I think it's easier on you to be able to see them as well. Upon falling asleep is a huge one. And yeah, I think during this time it's important to stay grounded, to get outside, to get some sunshine, because there are lots of downloads coming through with the Sirian sun. Anytime I've been outside, I've been receiving source consciousness downloads and messages. And even if I can't remember them all, they're still stored in my memory banks and in my cache. So I know it's important. Lots of codes being received and exchanged at this time. Lots. So, and they might come in unconventional ways or different innovative ways, or different unique ways. So keep that in mind. Things are about to get kind of up leveled. And I did a thing, also I wanted to mention, I did a thing where I asked to be without control, but with an intention set to surrender to the universal law of my journey, of my path, to take me to the next step of ascension and awakening, and what I need to know, and what I need to download, and what I need to receive, and what I need to be made aware of in my field of perception in this reality. And lots of things have been occurring, and lots of things have been happening, and in all aspects of my life. And I think it's really beautiful, and I think it's important to be grateful for every experience, no matter how dark or how light, or how good or how bad, or how traumatic or how peaceful or how blissful. And I think the 0 point field of neutrality is a great perspective to take. I think we're also observing our thoughts a lot more, as to where we know our own thoughts and we know the thoughts that aren't ours. So what is yours, what is of the collective? But we're all connected, right? So technically the collective is your thoughts, but at the same time use discernment for what you are creating in your mind. And then I feel like there's a lot of frequencies and like thoughts being thrown into our memory banks or our thought perceptive field from either like lower frequency entities or like artificial intelligence that is meant to keep us constrained. But be observant. That is the best tip. Like, just be observant of every thought. And the thing that has helped me so incredibly much, and I never even knew I was doing this in the first place until I was talking to my sister about it this weekend. And then it was like I taught myself through teaching her, which happens a lot with me. But I was telling her, you know, if I receive a thought and it's not of purity or unconditional love or one with source, that's when I know it's not my thought. That's when I know I'm being hacked or controlled or being manipulated with, or they're trying everything they can to keep starseeds from expressing themselves and from feeling empowered. So it's really important to take your power back and be observant and aware of your thoughts and where they're coming from and if they're yours or not. It's just a tip. I think it'll help a lot of starseeds out there. But I'm gonna jump off of here. It's really hot out here. I know there was more I wanted to say, but this is long already. And if you made it this far through, thank you so much for watching. And if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, go check me out on there. I have amazing readings on there, lots of Starseed Origins readings I just uploaded, and I'll be uploading a Spica, Serpens, and Corvus reading all combined into one, and this one's powerful. It ended up being an hour. It was only supposed to be 10 minutes, and yeah, you guys know how that goes. So that'll be uploaded this week on my YouTube channel. So yeah, definitely check it out. I would love to have you. Please consider subscribing on there. We have a great community going so far. It's not huge, but it's definitely something for sure, and I'm honored to be a part of it. And I love you guys so much. Thanks for watching. Stay strong, stay grounded. Have a happy 4th of July, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.